we are starting with algebra, where we are going to be adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying algebraic fractions. So the first 6 examples are basically about addition and subtraction. So the first example, we have 3/5 plus 2/5. Okay, so my denominator is the same, which means I can add my numerators together. So 3 plus 2, and this gives me 5/5, which equals to 1. Moving on to the second one. All right, again, my denominators are the same, which tells me that I can then subtract my 2 numerators. So my final answer here is 2/x squared. All right. So example number 3, can you see here that my denominators are not the same? So the first step that I need to do is to make sure that I get them to be the same. And we need to find the lowest common denominator. All right. So here you can see my lowest one would be 12. Okay. So then what do I then need to do? I need to then multiply this one by 2, 2/2. And this one here, I'd need to multiply it by 4. So that I get all my denominators the same. So then 1/6 is the same as 2/12, all right? Plus, now I need to multiply my denominator by 4, which means I multiply my numerator by 4. It gives me 8, and it's minus 5/12, okay? So now because my denominator is now the same, then I can add my numerators, minus 5. So my final answer here is 5/12. All right, moving on to number 4. Number 4 is the same principle. I need to make sure that both my terms have the same denominator. And because the denominators are not the same, then I need to make sure that I have a lowest common denominator, which implies then that both terms have to have the same denominator, which is a plus 1 times a minus 1. All right, so then I have 2 over, if it's a plus 1 over a minus 1, then what did I do to the denominator? I multiplied it by a minus 1, which means I need to multiply the 2 by also a minus 1. Here at the bottom, if I make this the same denominator, a plus 1 times a minus 1, at the top I had a 1 there. So what did I do to this denominator? I multiplied it by a plus 1. So I need to multiply the top also by a plus 1. Okay. So if they share the same denominator, then I can add my numerators. So the top part is 2a minus 2, all right, minus a minus 1. So my final answer is going to be 2a minus a is a, and minus 2 minus 1 gives me minus 3. So all over my denominator, a plus 1 times a minus 1. All right. Number 5, same principle. My denominators are not the same, so I need to find the lowest common denominator. Okay. So here my lowest common denominator is going to be b squared y. All right, which then tells me that the bottom part here, this one here, I multiplied it by by. So then I must multiply 2a by by as well. The next one over b squared y. All right. What did I do to my y? I multiplied it by b squared, which means the top here must also be multiplied by b squared. Okay. The last term, what did I do here? B squared y. I multiplied the denominator by y, so which means I need to multiply the numerator by y. So therefore, my final answer is going to be all over 2aby minus bx plus 3y. And that's my final answer. Okay. The next one, let me write it in red so we don't confuse it with this one. Here I need to factorize first. Okay, so I need to factorize this denominator to see what factors do I get here. So that when I factorize, I get x minus 3 times x plus 2. Okay, so this immediately tells me that my lowest common denominator is going to be this one here because it comprises of both the terms there. So therefore I have at the top here, my denominator is the same. It's x minus 3 times x plus 2. Okay, so this part remains the same because it has both the terms here. So this one here, this minus 3, what do I need to multiply it by? I need to multiply it by x minus 3. Okay, so x minus 3. And this one here, what do I need to multiply it by? I need to multiply it by x plus 2. Okay, so when I work that out, then you will find that the final answer is going to be 6 times 2x plus 1, okay, all over x minus 3 times x plus 2. The next four examples, they are about multiplication and division of algebraic fractions. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at number 7. So the point here with multiplication is we look to see how we can simplify by dividing and dividing like terms and also then dividing sorry, I apologize. So the whole point is for us to make sure that we can divide like terms. All right, so we are simplifying this fraction. So you need to see then what goes into what in order for you to be able to work out the final answer. So it's up to you whether you want to do cross multiplication like this, or you firstly want to then multiply at the top, multiply at the bottom, and then work out which terms are alike. Okay, so maybe let's do it like that. So I have 3 times 16, which is 48. And at the top, I have x to the power of 5. And I have y squared times y, which is y cubed. Okay, all of this divided by 4 times 9, which is 36. And I have x y to the power of 4. Right? And this is where my laws of exponents come in. So if I divide my initial constants, okay, those coefficients, then I get 4 over 3, okay? And then when I have x to the power of 5 divided by x, what am I left with? I'm left with x to the power of 4. And this one here, I have y to the power of 3, okay, divided by y to the power of 4. And what are the loads of exponents? If I'm dividing, then I subtract my exponents. So it's 4 minus 3, okay, which leaves me with 4x to the and y to the power, x to the 4, y to the power of minus 1 over 3. And I must leave it in positive exponent form. So my final answer is 4x to the power of 4 over 3y. Okay. The next one. So the next one here, I look at my terms at the top. So here you can see that you actually have a common factor of a, b. Okay, I take that out as a common factor. Then I'm left with 1 here. And on this side here, 8a squared b divided by ab, I get 8a. Okay, and if I take out 8b here, then I'm left with 4b cubed. Okay, so all over ab. And what can happen here? AB goes into itself once, and it also goes there once. So therefore my final answer is 1 minus 8a plus 4b cubed. Okay, let's look at the next one. This one as well. All right. So it's 8x plus 8. All right. So here as well, I can take out a common factor, because can you see each term here has got a common factor. So if I look at the top part first, I can take out 3 as a common factor. Then I'm left with 3 times x plus 2. And the denominator, I take out a common factor 8, then I'm left with x plus 1. Okay, so if I multiply this, I take out 9 as a common factor, then I'm left with x plus 1. Okay, then here, if I take out 7 as a common factor, I'm left with x plus 2 there. All right, and then what can happen? You can then eliminate, all right, by crossing out, or you can multiply directly across. So 3 times 9 is 27, multiplied by x plus 2 times x plus 1, all right, all over 8 times 7 is 56 times, okay, x plus 1 times x plus 2, all right. So then the same way in which we crossed out these two to divide, then we can also divide the like terms. So x plus 2 goes into itself once, and it goes into itself once there, and here as well, okay, x plus 1 and x plus 1. So then at the top, sorry, this is 56. So then at the top, I have 27 times 1, which is 27, okay. And then I have 56 times 1, which is 56. And that's my answer. All right. The last example, let's see. So looking at the last example, right? Here you can see you have a division sign and you have a multiplication sign. And you can see here with your factors, your terms, you have x minus 3, you have an x, and you also have an x minus 3 there. Here you have 3 minus x, and there's a 2 there, and there it's x squared minus 9, which you know you need to factorize. Okay, so first things first, all right? You can see you have a 3 minus x here. You need to try and write it in the form of x minus 3 because you want the x to be in front. So then how do you do that? You take out a negative sign, all right, and you swap your values around. So I have negative times x minus 3. If you think about it, this is the same. This is minus x plus 3, which is the same as what's there at the top. So then I have 6 times x minus 3. And with a division sign, I change it to a multiplication sign, and I reciprocate the value, so it's times 2 over x. All right, and then it's times x minus 3. I factorize that denominator. It's x plus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, so the nice thing about this one is you don't have to cross multiply to multiply the top and the bottom first before you can then cancel out the values. You can actually do it here still. All right, so let's do it. So here I have x minus 3 divided by x minus 3. All right, here as well I have x minus 3 divided by this x minus 3. So now let's write down what am I left with. So here at the top I have 6 times 1 times 2 times 1, which is equals to 12. Okay, then here at the bottom I have negative 1 times x plus 3. So then I'm left with minus x times x plus 3. Can I simplify it further? No, I can't, and therefore this is my final answer.